Mary Kay Cabot revealed a developing quarterback controversy that the Browns can no longer avoid in addition to criticizing Dillon Gabriel. Her direct post-game remark that Gabriel couldn't finish the job was a direct criticism of Cleveland's top-level decision-making, not just a media soundbite. Because Shedeur Sanders' name is at the center of the organizational fervor that boiled up in fan circles and analyst group chats following the Vikings' defeat. Gabriel's performance under center for the Browns was risk-averse and by the book.
If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed.
More akin to a game of keep away than professional football. Zero vertical threat, short throws, and predictable reads. For a drive or two, it worked. However, after the Vikings adapted, it became painfully obvious that Gabriel isn't currently suited to lead an NFL offense. And Mary Kay Cabot was referring to precisely that. He hesitates in the pocket, he can't see over the line, and above all, he doesn't put pressure on a defense. However, the timing of her remarks was more noteworthy than the criticism alone. Cabot isn't known for hurling grenades aimlessly. She is connected to the Browns' front office, and her annoyance mirrored the cries of supporters and insiders for weeks. Where is Shedeur Sanders? Why is Cleveland favoring a quarterback who is playing to win over its most promising player? This goes beyond simple conservative play calling. Player development is stalling out. The more fundamental problem? Stubbornness on the part of the organization. On the surface, it appears as though the coaching staff is holding onto preseason pledges or trying to avoid acknowledging that they chose the wrong candidate. Perhaps it's a contract issue, perhaps it's about keeping Gabriel's trust, or perhaps it's both. The price is obvious, though, as Cleveland is wasting time on a quarterback in Sanders who already appears more NFL-ready than half of the rookies starting elsewhere. His benching is dysfunctional, not cautious. Furthermore, Gabriel's physical attributes only make the situation worse. Without a doubt, he has the heart. On a professional level, however, heart alone is not enough to keep you afloat. You become predictable when you are unable to stretch the field and struggle to see over your own linemen. Predictable quarterbacks are also quickly figured out. Defensive coordinators are already getting ready for that, which is exactly what defensive coordinators are already preparing for. Now, the Browns are boxed in. Stick with Gabriel and risk alienating your fan base, stalling your offense, and watching the season slide. Or unleash Sanders, the player everyone from fans to former players believe is the franchise's future. Cabot lit the match, and unless Gabriel takes a miracle leap in the next game or two, the clock on this quarterback experiment is ticking down fast. The Cleveland Browns are in the middle of yet another quarterback mess, and this one's getting louder by the minute. After a loss to the Minnesota Vikings that should have been manageable, fans were left staring at the same question that's haunted this franchise for years. Why are we doing this again? Because this isn't just about a bad game. It's not about one blown throw or a busted play. It's about a decision, an avoidable, deliberate, and now very public decision, to bench Shedeur Sanders in favor of Dillon Gabriel. And the fallout is hitting hard. Dillon Gabriel's first start? Let's call it what it was. Underwhelming. Yes, he moved the ball a little. Yes, there were flashes of competence. But the performance? It was checkdowns, safe throws, and a complete lack of rhythm downfield. Conservative to a fault. And while that might be enough to keep you afloat in college or against a bottom-tier defense, it's not going to cut it in the NFL. Especially not in Cleveland, where fan patience has already expired. And that's where Mary Kay Cabot stepped in and didn't hold back. She said what a lot of people inside and outside that building were already thinking. Gabriel couldn't finish the job. Now, Cabot isn't known for throwing out hot takes just to stir the pot. She's plugged in, respected, and usually pretty measured. So when she publicly questions the quarterback decision, that's a sign something bigger is going on behind the scenes. Her words didn't just critique Gabriel's play. They hinted at something more systemic. That maybe this isn't about who's best for the offense right now, but about internal politics. Maybe the coaching staff is trying to save face. Maybe they don't want to admit they made the wrong call. Maybe they're trying to protect Gabriel from being thrown into the fire too early. But here's the thing, the fire's already here. And Gabriel? He's not extinguishing anything. In fact, he might be pouring more gas on it. His style of play is a problem. Checkdowns and short throws might keep you from making big mistakes, but they don't win games. They don't keep defenses honest. They don't stretch the field or make a defense sweat. What they do is allow opposing teams to press up, crowd the line of scrimmage, and force you to make throws you're clearly uncomfortable making. And that's exactly what happened. Once Minnesota adjusted, Gabriel had no counterpunch, no aggression, no spark, just more safe throws that died 5 yards from the line to gain. You can't run an NFL offense like that and expect to survive. You definitely can't do it in a city like Cleveland, where fans have seen every kind of quarterback failure imaginable, and are now watching it all happen again in real time. Meanwhile, Shedeur Sanders is on the bench, not because of injury, not because he's underperforming in practice, but because of what? Stubbornness? Contract logistics? A need to protect the fragile confidence of a rookie who already looks like he's drowning? It makes no sense. Sanders has done everything right. He's proven he can lead. He's proven he can handle pressure. He's shown the kind of maturity and playmaking ability that should have made this an open and shut decision. And yet, he's still being sidelined. And fans? They're done pretending this makes sense. Across social media, on talk shows, in comment sections, the consensus is loud. Sanders should be starting. Now. Not later. Not in a few weeks. Not after the Browns drop another game or two and decide they've seen enough. He should be on the field already. What the coaching staff doesn't seem to understand, or worse, refuses to admit, is that every week they delay, they lose more than games. They lose trust. They lose momentum. And they risk losing the very quarterback they're supposedly trying to protect. Because development doesn't happen on the sideline. It happens in the fire. It happens during real games, with real stakes. Sanders doesn't need more clipboard time. He needs reps. He needs chemistry with the offense. He needs experience reading live defenses. And he's not getting any of that while Gabriel stumbles through a slow-motion offense that can't even threaten a deep ball. There's also a very real physical component being ignored here. Gabriel's size limits his ability to see over the offensive line. His pocket presence has been shaky, and his inability or unwillingness to go downfield means defenses don't have to respect the deep threat at all. That creates a bottleneck for the offense, and it's only going to get worse. Defensive coordinators in this league adjust fast. Tape travels. And once they know you can't or won't stretch the field, they'll scheme accordingly. That's what's already happening. And that's exactly what experts are warning about. Gabriel's conservative style might have held up for one game against an average defense, but it won't last. It's already being picked apart. The Browns are about to hit a wall, and if they wait until they crash into it, the cost will be more than just a couple of losses. It'll be another wasted season. And this one hurts even more because the solution is right there. Sanders isn't some hypothetical fix. He's not a wild card. He's a proven player, a leader with a track record of performance, and the kind of mental toughness this team is dying for. Waiting to start him isn't just overly cautious, it's actively self-sabotaging. It's also completely out of touch with what the fanbase wants. The disconnect is growing fast. Fans are watching the situation unfold and feeling like their concerns are being ignored again. It's the same old Cleveland story. A front office so locked into its own decisions that it refuses to adapt, even when the evidence is right in front of them. This is about more than just who starts under center. It's about whether this organization can recognize when it's made a mistake and correct it before it snowballs. Because it is snowballing. When insiders like Cabot go public, that's not just commentary. That's pressure. And that pressure is going to keep building. If Gabriel's next start goes the same way, the calls for change won't just be loud. They'll be deafening. And at that point, the switch to Sanders won't be a strategic decision. It'll be a desperation move. A move that should have happened 2 games earlier. Timing matters. Confidence matters. And every week the Browns wait, they risk losing both. If they keep starting Gabriel, they're not just delaying Sanders' development, they're endangering it. Because once he does get in, the expectations will be sky high. He won't be given room to grow or learn on the job. He'll be expected to fix everything immediately. And that's an impossible standard to throw a rookie into. But it's what happens when you delay the obvious. The more they resist change, the more pressure they place on the change when it finally happens. There's still time to make this right. Still time to hand the reins to Sanders and give him a real shot to lead. Not as a savior, not as a last resort, but as the guy he's already proven he can be. The Browns just have to stop pretending they don't know what everyone else already does. Let us know what you think in the comments. Should the Browns make the switch now, or have they waited too long already? And if you want more coverage of NFL drama, QB meltdowns, and front offices making bold decisions look like rocket science, hit that subscribe button. Because in Cleveland, the quarterback saga isn't over. It's just getting started. As it keeps unfolding, the story only gets more exhausting. Because this isn't new for Cleveland. This isn't an anomaly. This is the latest chapter in a franchise that somehow always manages to complicate the obvious. And now, in 2025, with a potentially franchise-changing quarterback sitting on the bench, we're watching it happen all over again. There's no confusion about what Dillon Gabriel is. He's not a disaster. He's just fine. Manageable. Safe. But safe doesn't win you playoff games. It doesn't inspire a fan base. And it definitely doesn't justify passing on Shedeur Sanders. Gabriel plays like someone trying to avoid making a mistake instead of trying to make a play. His passes are clean, short, low risk. Every drive is a grind. He's not taking shots. He's not pushing the tempo. And if that kind of play worked for a half against Minnesota, it's already unraveling against more prepared defenses. Everyone sees it. The tape shows it. The fans feel it. And in the middle of it all, Sanders. Just standing there, helmet in hand, ready. The guy with the stronger arm. The better presence. The experience. The edge. The leadership. All of it. But the Browns are choosing to keep him off the field, for reasons they refuse to clarify. There's no public injury. No known issue with his work ethic. No red flags from camp. Which means the only logical explanation is that the organization is stuck in its own head. Maybe it's the coaching staff's loyalty to Gabriel. Maybe it's front office politics. Or maybe it's just fear of change, fear of backlash, fear of being wrong. But they are wrong. And the longer they wait to admit it, the more damage they do to everyone involved. You can't convince fans this is about development when they're watching a stagnant offense and a quarterback who's clearly being overprotected. You can't pretend there's some long-term strategy in place when the short-term product is this flat. And you definitely can't ask for patience when the answer is sitting 5 feet away, waiting for a chance. And here's the thing about fan patience. It's not infinite. Especially not in Cleveland. These fans have been through the worst. They've endured the quarterback carousel. They've seen the draft busts. They've weathered the coaching changes, the front office dysfunction, the back-to-back-to-back rebuilds. And now, after all of that, they're being told to wait again? To just trust the process, while Gabriel lobs 5-yard passes into traffic and the offense stalls on every other possession? It's insulting. And it's not just the fans. The media knows what's happening. The analysts know. And judging by Mary Kay Cabot's sharp comments, even the most respected insiders know. This isn't just about on-field performance anymore. This is about an organization that refuses to do what's best for the team because it doesn't want to admit that its first plan failed. That kind of pride has a cost. Because eventually, when the team keeps losing and the excuses wear thin, the fans will turn. And when they do, it gets loud. Not just in the stadium, not just on social media, but in the locker room. Because once the players lose faith in the coaching decisions, it's over. Players know who's got it. They know who the locker room responds to. They know who's delivering in practice and who's coasting. And if they start to believe that politics is keeping the best quarterback off the field, that trust breaks. Quietly at first, then very loudly. You don't want your veteran wide receivers wondering if they'll ever get a ball more than 12 yards downfield. You don't want your defense looking up at the scoreboard, watching another 17-13 game slip away, wondering why the other guy isn't getting a shot. And when the locker room fractures, the damage isn't just emotional, it's structural. That's how seasons implode. And all of it was avoidable. The Browns had the answer. They still have it. Shedeur Sanders is everything this team says it wants to be. Confident, composed, commanding. He's a playmaker, a leader. He's not rattled by pressure. He's not afraid of the moment. And he's shown he can thrive when everything around him is chaotic. But instead of trusting what they have, the Browns chose to slow play it, to drag it out, to act like Sanders' time will come eventually, when the right moment arrives. There is no perfect moment. Not in this league. You either seize the opportunity or you miss it. Right now, the Browns are risking missing it entirely. And once it's gone, it's gone. The narrative is shifting fast. What started as a quarterback competition has become a quarterback controversy. And if Gabriel continues to underperform, that controversy turns into crisis. Because at some point, the question becomes less about when Sanders will start, and more about why he didn't sooner. That's when the finger-pointing starts. That's when the press conferences get defensive. That's when the trust between coaches, players, and fans unravels. The longer the Browns wait to make the switch, the worse it gets. And here's the worst-case scenario. They wait too long, the season slips, Sanders comes in late, plays well, and everyone's left wondering what could have been if the team had just made the move 3 games ago. And that's how you waste a season. That's how you stall a young quarterback's development. That's how you erode fan loyalty that was barely hanging on to begin with. The Browns don't need more evidence. They don't need another loss. They don't need another 9-point offensive output with 4 field goals and 1 sad red zone appearance. They need to stop pretending this is working, because it's not. They need to start Shedeur Sanders. Now, not next week. Not after another humiliating post-game presser where the head coach says, "We like some of the things Dylan did out there." Not after another string of 3-and-outs and another game where the defense holds up its end of the deal while the offense can't get past midfield. Now, that's the move that would show fans they're serious. That would signal to the locker room that they're committed to winning. That would give Sanders a real chance to develop, not as a panic button, but as a leader. A long-term solution. A quarterback worthy of building around. Because that's what he is. Everyone knows it. And the Browns are the only ones pretending like they don't. So let's stop acting like this is complicated. The fan base doesn't need to hear about packages for Sanders or game speed development. They don't need a carefully worded explanation about how it's a long season or how both guys bring something valuable. They need action. They need a team that actually reflects what they see on Sundays, not a version of it wrapped in excuses and bad decisions. And right now, what they're seeing is a quarterback who doesn't scare defenses, and another one who's being hidden for reasons that have nothing to do with performance. It's not a quarterback battle anymore. It's a credibility test. It's not even about who's better anymore. It's about how long the Browns are willing to let this charade play out before the wheels come off completely. Dylan Gabriel isn't fooling anyone. He's not progressing. He's not building momentum. He's not adjusting to the speed of the game. He's surviving barely. And even that feels generous. The offense under Gabriel isn't evolving. It's shrinking. Every drive feels like a coin flip. Is it going to be a check down on 3rd and long? A missed read over the middle? Or another rollout that ends with a throwaway and a punt? Pick your poison, because we've seen the full rotation already. And the fan base? They're not just annoyed, they're insulted. Because this team finally had something that felt real. A quarterback in Shedeur Sanders who brought credibility and fire. Someone with presence. Someone who looked like he belonged the second he walked into the building. And instead of capitalizing on that momentum, the Browns benched it. They didn't just go with the wrong guy. They chose to ignore what was right in front of them. And now they're doubling down on that choice. as if this slow burn isn't getting hotter by the week. And look, everyone understands that rookie quarterbacks don't always step in and dominate. There's a learning curve. No one's saying Sanders needs to go in and throw for 350 yards and 3 touchdowns right away. But the difference is he gives you a chance. He gives you upside. He gives you something to believe in. Gabriel gives you caution. Sanders gives you hope. That's what makes this so frustrating. You don't need to be an expert to see what's going on. The eye test tells you everything. The Browns' offense has no rhythm, no tempo, no trust. And defenses have already figured it out. They're daring Gabriel to throw deep. And he's not taking the bait. Either he can't or he won't. Either way, it's a problem. And while the coaches continue to speak in vague, media-trained phrases about evaluating the film and staying the course, the pressure is closing in fast. You've got insiders like Mary Kay Cabot publicly calling out Gabriel's inability to finish the job. That's not a small jab. That's a heavy signal that even inside the building, people are growing impatient. The longer this goes on, the more damage it does, not just to the team's win-loss column, but to the locker room dynamics. Every week Sanders is held back while the offense flounders under Gabriel. The divide gets wider. Guys start asking questions. Leaders start speaking up. Coaches start looking over their shoulders. You can't run an NFL team on stubbornness and denial. But that's exactly what it looks like right now. And that's why this isn't just a football issue. It's a leadership issue. Because this staff is showing, in real time, that they're more interested in protecting their original decision than pivoting to the right one. That's not strategy. That's fear. And the problem with fear-based decision-making is that it leaves you behind. It leaves you reactive, not proactive. It leaves you defending bad performances instead of creating opportunities. And the Browns don't have the luxury of time to figure this out. They need to act before the season slips too far out of reach. Before another game goes by where the defense plays lights out and the offense gives them nothing. Before another post-game press conference filled with the same hollow lines about execution and needing to be better. This is a crossroads. You don't get many of these in a season. And once you miss it, it doesn't come back. Start Sanders. Let him take the reins now, not because it's the easy move, but because it's the right one. Give him the playbook. Let him grow with the offense. Let him earn the job on the field instead of trying to win it from the sideline. He doesn't need to be a hero. He just needs to be the guy. And if he struggles, that's part of it. At least then you're building toward something. At least then the team knows they're growing with a future in mind. At least then the locker room has clarity. The fans have something to rally behind. And the front office can say they gave the team its best shot. Right now, they can't say any of that. So the clock's ticking, not just on Gabriel's leash, but on the entire organization's credibility. What do you think? Is it time for the Browns to finally stop overthinking and start Sanders? Or are they going to wait until it's too late? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe, because if history's taught us anything, it's that when it comes to Cleveland, the drama never stops here.